Welcome, lovely souls. I am wishing to share with you an energy update. It may take about half an hour, so get your 11Cs drink ready and sit and just listen and enjoy. And if you're catching this up later, just give yourself some time to sit and listen rather than just scrolling past. So I have quite a lot to cover, and hopefully I will give this into a way of understanding of how it's going to be affecting you and how best to navigate these next 3 months of huge changes that are going to be coming through for us individually and collectively. So looking to the stars, looking to the sun, to the moon, we have an eclipse coming on the 8th of April, mostly over America, which is most interesting. And we have Chiron as well. It is called as a wounded healer. So this is the coming into all of our space to work through our wounds, to work through our shadows, our subconscious, our belief systems, whatever words resonate with you. And it's, for me, when I tune into this, and what has been really showing up for the last 10 months really is about equality. It's about equilibrium. It's about bringing that balance. Now, health is all about balance and equilibrium, but we're seeing that is needed within our world as well. So what is coming through are the old patternings, our old conditionings, our social conditionings that no longer serve us as humanity. And it's actually going to be using the fire energy, the alchemy, the fire and the rage to alchemize our wounds. Now that might sound scary because we see anger as a negative. We look and see anger in war and it's a negative. And that is an act of fear and of anger. And that is a negative. When we use anger of rage, which is a suppressed anger, to alchemize it, when we're conscious of it and allow it to come through us, we are able then to alchemize this to love. Because underneath that anger and that rage is self-love, saying to you, I deserve better. I am worthy of more. And women especially have suppressed this because they weren't allowed to express anger. They weren't allowed to express the abuse that has gone on for thousands and thousands of years. And I'm going to say this right now, if you men are switching off of this, and this is about women's rights, I would really say sit with this, because you are equally as important to this whole process of equilibrium and equality. And it was really interesting. I put a post out, and it's just a beautiful post about women and how beautiful they are, yet they don't necessarily recognize their self-worth. And it wasn't saying women are better than men. However, some responded in a very negative fashion towards that. Not many, fortunately, just enough for me to be aware of that concept, that energy behind it, was that they instantly tried to knock a woman and belittle the post. Now, the post wasn't saying men are less than women or women are more than men. This is what we really need to get past in society. When we're seeing women trying to talk about equality, it's not saying men are any less. They're not. Men have, like I say, a huge role to play to allow this equilibrium to come forwards. And this is about healing our feminine wounds and our masculine wounds. And we have both within us. We, male or female, however you feel yourself as, you have the masculine and the feminine within you. And we are living and breathing examples of paradoxes, okay? Neither can exist without the other. It's like freedom cannot exist without boundaries, because freedom just wouldn't be there. Light wouldn't exist without dark. So we have to recognize that both exist, and how we can exist in equilibrium, in balance, and healthy. And I want to go back into this rage energy, because it's springtime, which links to our liver and our gallbladder. So the liver for ourselves is our deep internal part, our identity of who we are and where we store so much of our sensitive, vulnerable parts of ourselves. And the gallbladder is like the overfill of that. So the liver is like a sponge. It absorbs, it takes in the surroundings. And, you know, if you think as a child, you will be absorbing. We say children are like sponges, but it's that they sponge the environment, the emotions that are going on in their home life and around them, and they take it on as their own. So the liver absorbs anger. It absorbs, when it links to the heart, it's betrayal. And the gallbladder, if you have issues with that, is the overspill of bitterness. It's this absolute anger that hasn't been able to be expressed. And like I say, rage is like that burning hate and anger that's within the body that hasn't had the opportunity to come out. And I've been seeing this coming up from August, really, last year, how it's linking in and needing to come out from our bodies. Because if you think about this, it's like a smoldering fire, and that fire is killing off your cells. It takes away the oxygen that the cells need to survive. Cancer cannot live in a cell with oxygen. So we are, through not being able to express this emotional, this response, this rage, we are blocking our bodies. And we need to be able to do that in a conscious and healthy way. And it can come out in many different angles. So it can be the liver, and I'm seeing it spreading out to quite a lot of organs at the moment. I feel like our bodies are going through this huge purge of shifting our shite so we can actually be present, be more happy, be more joyful, be here for what we're here to be. We're not here, and I say this over and over and over again, we are not here to work hard, stress, and die. We are intelligent beings, and there's a higher and greater purpose for us being here rather than just being slaved to money. So we are shifting, we are healing, and it may not feel like you're healing if you're not conscious. It may feel like your whole world is fucking falling apart, okay? It may feel like your body is falling apart, and we have to see that we're breaking free, not breaking down. And when we can hold an inner tube, an inner axis, I see that the Shishami tube, it's the life force energy that comes from our perineum up to our third eye. It's the encompassing of our central nervous system. When we can really sit in that space and hold that inner peace and that self-awareness, we can sit like we're sitting in the eye of our own storm. Now, we have been sitting in our storms of the collective, but everything looks like it's falling apart. And it is, if it's not for the highest good. Fear and things will be falling away. And it will feel quite huge because our foundations are based on this. And our life is based on this, our infrastructure. So it'll feel like everything is falling apart, but they're not based or set up for the highest good for all. It's not set up for equality and equilibrium. So this is what I mentioned before. It's a revolution for an evolution. But for that to happen, we're all individually going through this. So as I was saying, it's affecting not just our liver and our gallbladder, which is this time of year. I'm seeing it dropping into the kidneys and in the bladder. And this is where our emotions really sit. This is where it's been really rattled. And I can only say it feels like shock waves are coming through us right now. You know, with war that is happening, it is, and our post-traumatic stress of COVID, we don't shake off our trauma. Okay, so humans and domesticated animals don't have this, but they are able to, but we don't do it. We don't shake it off. Okay, this is a Taylor Swift, shake it off. It's our neural system needs to release the tension, the stress that it has, but we don't. We suck it in, again, the liver, and hold, embrace, and create a resistance in our body. We don't flow. We're just bracing ourselves. And that forms in our kidneys and our bladder and our skeletal system. So the skeletal system is really showing up. It's showing up the DNA, the structure within that, our epigenetics, our ancestral heritage. What we've inherited is sitting in our unconscious body. Like I say, this trauma, this rage, this anger isn't just from your experiences. It's from your body that has grown from your many ancestors. They see it now. They can't do as well studies as they do with animals so much, but because humans live for so much longer, but they are recognizing that trauma comes through us in our epigenetics. Our bodies will store that trauma of our ancestors. And if you think of what that has done for thousands of years, and I'm going back to women now, this has created a lot of trauma, abuse, the misuse of power and money and sex, and how that has basically confined women. And it's interesting that this eclipse, I am jumping around, I apologize for this. No, I don't apologize. I'm just saying, just go with me. And you might have to read this listen to this a few times. But this eclipse that's coming up in around America, that's also, which if you've listened to me before, is linking to the cicadas that are coming up that haven't done that for 221 years, these two groups coming together. So this is a mass uprising. And I'm seeing that, especially within the Texas and many different states of America, are banning abortion. And this is taking away women's rights for their own body and their own choices. So I'm not here to say this is what's going to happen. I'm not a gospel speaker, or I'm not a sightseer in terms of what's happening, but there's definitely something that's going to come up with this, because the solar eclipse is all about equality, the balance of the masculine and the feminine in both within us, and the male and the female, and the whole concept of life itself. So this is going to be brought up for us. And there's definitely going to be a mass uprising. I can feel it. There's this whole energy that's coming up from the earth. That's our true connection, our truth. Like I say, there's this plaque, a foundation that's gone around earth that's based on fear, that our infrastructures have been based upon. These are going to start to be chiseled and falling away. The light's coming in, the earth is rising up, and it's breaking through that. So if you think about your shockwave, your nervous system that's based upon these infrastructures, it will be going through a very fear-based triggering right now, which could sit in your kidneys, your adrenals, which will make you feel fatigued, or it might have UTIs, like lower back pain. You may well be experiencing these. So the key is to recognize that your roots and your foundations go much, much deeper than these infrastructures. Your connection is earth. That's what you've been born through. You've been through the womb and through the earth. And it's that deep Mother Earth connection that is going to be your axis, that's going to root you and hold you through the storm, and even through your own storm. And I would say, going back to the rage and using anger as a way to not be ashamed of it. If you're outwardly pushing it out, then that's fear. If you're allowed to hold that space for it to transmute and alchemize back to love, really fucking powerful, okay? And I'm just going to read something now to you that came to me back in August. And just let that sit with you. Okay. I release the rage, the anger that burns and smoulders inside me, within my conscious and unconscious body and mind. I want to bring your hands to your heart. The injustice, the taken for granted, the non-consensual misuse of power and physical strength, the greed, the abuse, the taking of was not theirs to take, the suppression of our sisters, mothers, and daughters, the rage, the unspoken, the unexpressed rage. I allow it to ignite, to burn this rage, the undergrowth of society, this anger, this hurt, this fear, the blatant dishonoring and betrayal of the sacredness once honored in the masculine protection. I choose to be a vessel of release and expression, yet no longer the burden held in mute shame. To no longer absorb both mine and their discomfort and guilt. I no longer sacrifice my inner peace to keep the peace, the status quo. I give this rage the opening, the air it needs to burn itself away, to take its course and path of healing. I say no, no more. For I choose to be free. I choose to liberate myself. I am equal and I am love. My heart burns openly with love. I burn until there is no more, for the ashes to lay in peace. An ache, a residue of grief of what could have been. Upon such I lay it to rest. I gather myself and rise in my newborn energy of inner peace, inner love, a fearless love of self and life. My sovereignty, my inner power, held within the sanctuary of self-liberation and truth. And so it is. Just let yourself just sit with that for the moment. And this is for men and for women. So women will carry it more within their bodies, within their womb, which actually is the powerful place to alchemize this anger and return it back to love. This is a forgotten inner power that women have, but it's rising, which is why I did a meditation a week ago to support that, which is accessible through this Pajama Revolution. But we're also here to honor men as well, because they're fundamental to this. And this is the masculine energy that needs the healing. It's the old, outdated masculine energy that thinks it has to be hardened and emotions are weakness, for they're not. And it's that feminine energy that sits within males as well. And to know you can, through self-love and self-acceptance, come to a space of vulnerability. Yet again, that's never paradox, because that is courage and that is strength too. So we are all going through our own healing. And the more conscious you are, the easier, more graceful it can be. Because as soon as you become aware of something, that it's an old pattern, an old belief system that's coming up for you, it is not your truth, you can then be more objective. You can let it pass through you rather than attaching to it and going down that downward spiral of emotion again that just keeps it locked into the body, and you repeat your cycle. And through repeating that cycle, you hold that energetic vibration of that emotion that attracts your experiences. because we are energy beings. Energy attracts energy. So as soon as you start to master your inner power, your superpower of choice and awareness, you can start moving these old wounds through you, okay? And you can start experiencing more. If you want more love, give more love. More joy, find your joy. Look at what you're carrying that stops you from blocking your joy. Is it your self-worth? Is it shame? Is it guilt? Which, like I say, if abuse is coming through our system, which is this victim-martyr-perpetrator energy, we need to be able to release that. And we do that through forgiveness. But first of all, you can't forgive unless you've accepted the rage and the anger. And then you can transmute and burn off that dead wood without burning off the frigging whole forest. But you burn off the dead wood to allow that regrowth. And then you will find grief of what there was or what you lost or what you didn't have. And then you come to a point of discernment of what do I take from this? What's the blessing from it? It can be quite hard to find initially because you're still in that hurt. So it takes time to process. This isn't a quick fix. And then you can come to forgiveness, but truly finding that forgiveness until you've gone through all that processing. And you will often go through these layers time and time again and go, oh, here's this old story yet again, but you're aware of it. And with that awareness, that's your superpower, you can transition and move it through you. Okay. So I would say there's a lot going on. Okay. So be compassionate to yourself. Really start to bring in self-care if you haven't already. And it's not a luxury. It's not going off for an odd treatment here and there. It's about a daily practice that you do for yourself, that you create that space, you create that breath, you create those moments of discernment of going, oh, okay, that's not serving me. I need to bring in some healthy boundaries here. I need to be able to release myself from this toxic situation. What's that toxic situation telling me? Am I carrying some real old belief systems that I'm not worthy of love or joy or peace? So it's really about creating space. Even if it's the same time as brushing your teeth morning and night, taking what you need, releasing what you don't, okay? Fundamental to do that, even if it's walking in nature for 15, 20 minutes. If it's doing more tapping techniques, is it swimming? Is it bathing? Is it meditation? Is it coming forward treatment? But that's not, I must say, and I'm an aromatherapist, but you have to take empowerment of yourself. You can't rely on other people. Myself, I see myself as a stepping stone, but you do the work in between. And that is really important. To know that you're empowered and you can make your choices is huge. It goes beyond the placebo effect of what drug companies use. It's recognized in science, the placebo effect of just having that mind shift. So imagine placebo and hope and knowledge of knowing what you can do to heal yourself, fucking empowered, okay? You're not going to be stopped. And this is what I'm here for. This is what I'm here to support others to do, to give you back your power, to give you back your sovereignty, or showing you to give it back to you, okay? This is about you claiming it, claiming your space, being here, being present, finding your voice, breaking free from the fear that has you believe that you cannot speak your truth, know your truth. It's all these things that are coming up for us to be fully present and be what we're here to be. And we have to go through this journey. We go through the journey and we go through the healing of our body. And our body it has a language with us, which we have forgotten what it's trying to say to us. And pain and disease is the way of the body trying to reconnect with us. So loneliness and pain use the same neural system. So pain and disease is the disconnection and loneliness from our body. It's seeking reconnection. It's seeking love. It's seeking compassion and acceptance. And when you start to recognize that language, you can change that. you bring in that deeper love. And if there's trauma, no wonder you're not connected to your body. It's been too painful to be in it. But now I know that it's safe, and you can take those layers back into your body and fully ground yourself, which is really important to go through and navigate all this, to root, to really be strong and deeper and embodied in our body is the fundamental part that will get us through. Otherwise, we spend too much time in our heads, too much in our mental energy, and it burns us out. It's like trying to catch a lightning bolt, just frazzles our frigging head and our nervous system. We need to keep rooting and grounding and allowing it to come through. And especially if you're quite spiritual and you're like downloading and having information, and we instantly go, oh, what's that? I need to know what it is. You don't. We need to allow it to come through our bodies into the earth like that lightning bolt, for that to be transmuted and for our body to receive as it would do through the food from what grows from our earth. So we have to recognize that, and that the wisdom will be shown. But otherwise we'll burn ourselves out mentally, okay, and emotionally. So I hope that has been of support for you. And I don't want this to come from a fear perspective, to say, oh, there's going to be a whole load of stuff going on. It's actually the revolution for evolution. And the key is your perspective. Do you see it with fear, or do you see it through love? Do you see it negative or positive? And this comes back to the paradox of one cannot exist without the other. So the negative cannot exist without the positive. Now, our mainstream media likes to make us purely just see the negative. There's the positive out there too. So we have to really honor our sovereignty and our power of where do we put our attention. Do we believe this victim energy, that we have no choice, we have no power? Or do we decide that we do, that we have our voice, that we have hope? And as you start to express, somebody else hears you, gives them hope. And all of a sudden, we've gone from 0 to 1. And then we've gone from hope to belief. It's a huge movement in that, okay? And yeah, I would just say this is about finding your inner sanctuary, your inner connection. And this is what was shown. The Shishami channel is really hold that deep access in yourself, that feeling of we're being pulled out of ourselves, whether it's social media, whether it's the energy, the solar flares, everything that's coming through, we can feel pulled out of ourselves. Now, if we have that real center, that root, that access that goes, this is love, joy, and peace. I am love, joy, and peace. And you trust that whatever isn't that, aligned to that, will let go. And I kind of see it a little bit like a tornado, but you're holding yourself and you're allowing these parts of you to go. Your identity, your sense of identity, your belief systems, and our ego. And we're really surrendering that. But to do that, we have to be truly rooted and in our bodies. Okay, so I'm going to leave that there for you because there's quite a bit to digest. And I would suggest, like I say, these sort of general self-care for your daily practice, as I've mentioned earlier. And naturally, I'm here to offer support as well. So how I'm doing that is, one, through this Pajama Revolution, where you have your guided meditations. I'm also on the 26th of April doing a women's retreat, which is 3 hours of deep, immersive connection, self-awareness, and my energy healing to it. It's incredibly powerful. And I'm not saying that just for me, but when you see women connect to their power, it's intense, it's beautiful. So that's happening on the 26th of April. And also this daily self-care, I have now got my wonderful Love to Heal online course, which is on the infinityhealthhub.com. And it's a self-care toolkit of 7 meditations that addresses your health and well-being the first week, your relationships the second, and then the third is your work and your purpose and what you're here for and that fulfillment. And it's giving you lots of self-awareness, little prompts to look within. And this is a really good way of seeing what patterns you're carrying to then what is creating your outward experiences. And it's there for life. You've got it forever. So you can use that, tap into it as much or as little as you like. The meditation's about 30 minutes. So if you're saying, I've got no time for that, life's too hard, find 30 minutes. And that becomes that route that you can then build up and do more and more as and when it feels good. So it's helping you create space to let go of that overwhelm. Otherwise, you're just going to be this tumbling weed, this hamster wheel, and nothing's going to come from it. And again, that's the old masculine energy of push, push, do. That is an unserving burnout energy for all of us, especially women. And it just burns you out and it brings you no joy. And we are literally going off 2 tracks: fear, old unserving ways, which is like that run off of a lorry that has lost its brakes, or we find a more higher highway of joy and experiences. And it's really, which one do you choose? And you can make those choices once you're aware of what you're doing through your subconscious. Okay, I think that's plenty to say. So you've got the pajama revolution, and I'm doing one this Sunday. So that will be Sunday evening. And I'd imagine it's going to be a lot to do with finding your inner peace, your inner axis. And then I've got 26th of April, the Women Empowerment, and then it's the Love to Heal course, which you can sign up to at any point. And you, like I say, you've got access to so many different materials and understanding language of your body. Okay, so lots of love. I will be probably tapping in quite regularly to hold this space, to know that you're not going mad and you're not losing your shite and you're not breaking down, you're breaking free. So just be kind and compassionate to yourself. And one thing you can do, just create more time for you to hold space and stillness. Okay, that's the feminine energy. This is what we need. And hold your own counsel. Okay, so lots of love and thank you for listening. Take care.